Welcome back to Sunny Morning. So it's been a really busy week in sports so far. We've got lots to talk about, and today I've got Gilbert Rios back with me here.
Hello, everyone. Elliot.
Hey, Gil.
How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy. It's a very rare treat to have Gilbert in. He's flown in all the way from Los Angeles again, so great to have you back with us. How was your flight over?
It was fantastic.
Smooth transition as always, right?
Yeah, I took the space shuttle.
Elon Musk. You're an Elon Musk, right? You're just like this. He's doing all kinds of favors, right? Yeah. It's like you're in Silicon Valley area, right? I mean, you know, kind of you're getting all these like good sponsorship rides at the moment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
These tech giants over there. And talking of giants, I mean, there's some big stuff going on. I mean, you've been telling me about Seattle Seahawks. I mean, is it the end of an era? I mean, what's going on? Talk us through it.
It is the end of an era called the Legion of Boom. And the Legion of Boom, as you may know, is Richard Sherman. He actually has been picked up by another team. He one day after the Seahawks released him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how long has he been in demand? I mean, has this guy been tempted before? I mean, other teams have come in for him. I mean, he's definitely on his way, right?
Absolutely, and I'll put it to you this way. In the last 8 years, not one defender has had more interceptions and more block passes than Richard Sherman.
So statistically, you've done, I mean, I know you're never wrong on the stats, right? But he's your man, right? He's definitely probably like the most expensive defensive player right now, most sought after.
Well, the Raiders, the Texans, the Packers, I'm missing a couple of teams, probably everyone were vying to get him.
Right. So
he actually decided to go to the 49ers.
Wow. Now, what is that? Is that just more money, or is that because of geographics? I mean, probably economics, or what?
Well, let's call it a 3-year, $39 million contract.
Only.
With a $5 million signing bonus. But I will tell you, Richard Sherman has been the epitome of what a defensive end is. Defensive player, I'm sorry, not defensive end.
Okay.
And it is a true American dream success story. He actually worked out his own deal. He doesn't have an agent.
He's a free
He's
player.
absolute trendsetter.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's something that might be happening more in the future with veterans.
Yeah, I mean, the young guys coming into the game, they need proper management, right? They know the older guys, perhaps, like this guy, knows how to manage his affairs.
Well, he's been around 8 years.
Yeah.
It's actually something that he's been learning. And a $39 million 3-year contract with a $5 million signing bonus, I think, is a pretty good negotiator there.
That's like the cherry on the cake, right? With the whipped cream on top.
Yes. And a very interesting thing about Richard Sherman, he grew up in the hood of Compton.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, this is an American dream story all the way. He lost his best friend and high school teammate. He was murdered in a shooting in Compton.
Like some kind of drive-by, you hear about this.
Yeah, it was gang-related, and he vowed to never go that way. His mother used to bake brownies. Okay. And she used to go out around Compton and tell the gangbangers, here's some brownies for you. Just, I had plans on getting my son to the school, and kind of leave him alone.
Yeah, like exactly.
It wasn't a command. It was more of like, I have hopes for this young man.
Yeah, yeah.
And certainly she was strong, and he did it.
He's an upstanding citizen, and absolutely, she kept him on the straight and narrow, kept him out of harm's way.
Exactly.
What a clever mum, to
Very
do
clever.
that for him.
And she got him into Stanford, where he graduated from Stanford.
So he got a scholarship at Stanford?
He got a scholarship. He graduated. He got into the Seattle Seahawks, and he has been absolutely exemplary with what a football player should do. Someone like Sherman is eyed by a lot of young players.
So how big a loss is this going to feel now for Seattle? He's gone. I mean, it's a done deal. What else? I mean, is their head coach now going to, how are they going to replace him? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
I'm not so sure you can replace Richard Sherman. I don't think you can replace that defense. Because now you have Michael Bennett, who's going over to Philadelphia.
Okay.
Averill, their linebacker, is not going to be there, and Chancellor won't either.
So that's 4 players. 4 players now. They've got to find replacements. That's a huge gap in their defense.
Well, it's a gap, and it's called a salary gap. And it's money.
It's all money driven.
It's teams that do this. They see a player who's still got some good years on him. Mm-hmm. He's not that old, good enough to play, and is now eyeing what is coming up in the young draft, which is next month.
Yeah, I mean, we've been covering, right, the combine, what's been coming up as far as new players, fresh players to replace veterans. But, like Seattle must be saying, I mean, where did they come last year in terms of contention? I mean, were they pretty close?
Very close. And they have been close over the last 6 years.
Yeah.
They actually won in spectacular fashion a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They have been the Legion of Boom, a fantastic defense. And it's something that is what is a model on how a defense should be made in the NFL. But time goes by and players move on, contracts end, and then they are traded. Often they don't want to be traded.
Right, okay.
That's just the nature of the game.
So, yeah, I mean, money talks, right? I mean, it's hard to build a sports franchise these days with so much money on the line, so many good offers coming in. You can only, as a coach, look really to the next season, play season by season, right?
Absolutely, even week by week.
Yeah, with injuries coming in.
Sherman is coming off of a...
he had an Achilles injury?
He had an Achilles injury. He had surgery on his Achilles. That was in week 10 last year. That's not a small, minor injury.
Okay.
But it's funny how someone with that caliber of play is sought after. Literally one day that Seattle released him, one day, 49ers picked him up. And I'm glad that they did, because the 49ers are a great team. Look for them to make a lot of noise during next year. Yeah,
absolutely. And another nice story, I mean, we've seen the Browns, right? I mean, they've snagged the Bills veteran, right? Tyrod Taylor.
They absolutely did. They got Tyrod Taylor from the Bills. It is them actually having the first pick of the draft. Chances are they're probably going to go with someone like running back.
Yeah.
And they also have a 4th pick in the draft too. So having Tyrod Taylor, a veteran quarterback, it's something that was done to the Bills for a 3rd round pick.
Okay.
The first pick in the 3rd round. And I'll tell you, the positioning in the draft is so important and is often overlooked. Some people think, why would the Buffalo Bills give their starting quarterback up for a first pick in the 3rd round? It doesn't seem fair. But what is now happening is the Buffalo Bills have 6 picks within the first 3 rounds of the draft within just a few weeks.
Okay, so giving up a prestige spot for a 3rd spot is not a disadvantage for them.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. And I think they are playing their cards right as well. I think the Browns are playing their cards right. And I have a feeling the Browns are actually going to do something, as you recall.
Yeah. Put money on
that. They were
0-16
last year.
Well, I guess the only
Sorry
way
to laugh, guys, but you did have a parade about that.
Yeah, and the only way is up from there, right? You can't get worse than rock bottom.
Exactly. But chances are the Bills, what they'll do in April is they're probably going to land a very prime free agent. Look forward for them probably to go for a young quarterback. That's my guess.
Anybody in mind?
Well, I think they're just going to take a quarterback off of the draft because right now, today starts Wednesday the 14th of March. the NFL season.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of trades going on between teams.
Yeah.
And then in April, the draft starts from the collegiate players coming into the NFL.
Okay.
But today it officially marks it, even though there's a lot of movement that has been going on way before even last season ended. They're looking at players, they're thinking the changes that can be made, and this is called NFL football.
This is NFL trade.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other big signings? Any big transfers? Anybody else moving?
Well, you have the New England Patriots. They have, who was it?
Aqib
Talib.
Aqib Talib, yeah.
He was actually sent over from the Broncos to LA Rams.
To LA Rams. Wow.
Okay, now it's not the first time for him.
No.
He did, I believe, 5 years. I have it written down somewhere here.
Yeah, okay.
With Tampa Bay, and then he did 3 years with the Patriots, and then he did 4 years, and the last 4 years in Denver Broncos. And he is one player who was actually traded, even though he didn't want to be traded. He said that he's going to miss a lot of his teammates, his friendships that he made over in Denver. But he did say if someone has to go, he says, when there's a lot of talent on a defensive team, someone's got to go. He says, it's always going to be the old guy. He says, and that was me. And they always make room for the younger and the stronger players. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah. That's what he said.
There's truth in that. But it does take experience to show the next generation how to win championships.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what makes him the perfect fit for LA Rams. It's a young team. He's got plenty to offer. He is a fantastic defensive back. And he's going to show those young guys how to win championships. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it into the championship next year. Cool. And he was joking about it too. He said, he said, I didn't want to go, but if I had to go, I wanted to be Los Angeles. He says, you have palm trees. He says, you have nice sunshine. And he says, who knows, I may even become a movie star. Because God knows his teammate, Von Miller, he's doing really well in those commercials.
Talking of commercials, we're going to one right now. We'll be right back with you. Don't go away. We've got much more coming up with Gilbert Rios.